host of the Talk Right podcast. And this evening we've got a friend of mine on that has some really great software for anybody who's a wide author or thinking about wide. For those who are watching and don't know the difference between wide and not wide, well, not wide is somebody whose books are in Kindle Unlimited, which is exclusive on Amazon. If you're wide, you're not in Kindle Unlimited, but your books are available Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Google, Apple, the local bookstore, everywhere. So anyway, Nick, why don't you take over and introduce our guests?
All righty. Well, today we have on representatives of Scribe Count. We have Randall Wood, who's the CEO, and Filippo Werner, who's the CMO. Both of them are writers, and that's the thing that really grabbed my attention when I was reading about this. Is it's created for writers by writers, which I think is the way it should be. Well, I'm going to just sort of step aside and immediately let the two of you tell us quickly what Scribe Count is.
Okay, I guess I'll handle that one. Scribe Count is primarily right now a reporting service for wide authors. We started out for wide authors, and we wanted to cover every platform available that most of us are used to publishing on. I would constantly get the question, how many books did you sell yesterday? And by the time I traveled to the couple dozen platforms and downloaded a spreadsheet and put it in a pivot table and crunched it all together, my answer was already antiquated. And it was just something that I got tired of doing myself. And I was always keeping an eye on the other platforms that do reporting. And they always said they were going to move to the wide markets, but it never happened. And I just got tired of waiting. So found a couple friends who know how to code, and we started building this thing. And it's just grown like crazy. We've only been out, 11 months now. And we probably have several times what we started with already. So
but you were in beta before that for almost a year, right?
Yeah, we were building the base code for a year, and I had a couple interruptions that set us back a little bit. My house got in a storm, and my lead publisher or my lead developer took a job at NASA. So we had to start over. You
can't compete with that.
No.
But I was on the beta part of it, and at the same time I was subscribed to your arch nemesis book report and comparing the two and getting a side-by-side comparison. I'm real slow about doing anything. So looking at the two, Scribe Count and book report, and I also looking at all the platforms and getting those numbers direct. And I'm like, wait a minute. These numbers are jiving with book report, but Scribe Count's telling me I'm selling a whole lot more than I am. And I couldn't figure that out until we met at NINC this past September. And you explained that you don't look at the dashboards. You go straight into the nuts and bolts.
We go straight to the spreadsheet. A lot of people, and a couple of these platforms, people think we can travel in time. We can actually see the future. But the trick is
almost what it was like.
Yeah.
Which we can, Randall.
We can.
Come on, man.
Yeah. But well, if you look at the Kdp dashboard, they report sales as soon as they happen. So if there's a sale or a page read in the last 15 minutes or however often they cycle now, they throw it up on that dashboard. But those are sales that haven't been fully processed yet. And by processed, I mean the credit card hasn't been fully processed. The exchange rate hasn't been finalized. There may be returns. There may be different time zones involved. There's a lot of things that go into making a confirmed, fully processed sale. But they also provide a spreadsheet. You have to click your way to it and be willing to do some Excel magic to actually read it. But the data from the spreadsheet is 100% processed. So those are the ones that have already been cleared by the credit card company and paid for. So the data from the spreadsheet is much more accurate than the stuff that you see on the KDP dashboard. The other thing you have with Amazon is, of course, is KNEP, the page read calculation. That comes out on the 15th. So it's a guess up until the 15th. And then you don't know the exchange rates for sure until the end of the month when they actually send out your payment. So we have to guess on those things until we know them for sure. And once we do know them for sure, then we go back and we adjust everything accordingly. So we're always telling people that believe your Amazon numbers with a little grain of salt until the 30th of the month. And at that point, they should jive with what you see in your scribe count report as well. It's different for other platforms like Barnes & Noble, where we can see into the future, people think. Just had a ticket on this the other day. But they put up a dashboard that has a 2-day delay. So you don't see your sales from the last 2 days. You only see them from before then. But the spreadsheet is updated every day, constantly. So by us pulling the data from the spreadsheet at Barnes & Noble, it appears as if we see stuff that you can't, but it's actually up to date and in close to real time as it can be. So everybody says, how do you travel in time? How do you see what my sales are going to be? And it's there. We just look in a different place than you do. So
This might be asking you to look into the heads of other people, but from what you just told me, my immediate question is, why don't these companies' dashboards pull the information from the spreadsheet?
that's a question for them, really. I can only guess. Probably a lot more computer power, a lot more muscle, a lot more broad, bandwidth, and just a lot more number crunching, where it's probably easier for them to throw up the immediate sale and then fix everything at the end of the month when they know what rate they're gonna assign to the page reads and what exchange rates they're going to use. So whereas they have the data and they can project what's going to happen, all we can do is make educated guesses and then adjust at the end. It's the best we can do with the data we're provided. So
remember that even with the way publishing is now for self-published authors, we're coming from the world where you got your quarterly reports if you were lucky. So all of the reporting to any sort of user dashboard is completely tacked on.
Yeah. I talk to trade authors and it's like, well, I get my 6-month, royalty report next month so I can see how my ad campaign did that I ran last month. And it just makes me cringe, because here we are indies with with no big companies behind us. And yet we can follow our stuff in real time, practically every 15 minutes, a half hour, we can get updates. So it's a lot's changed.
How far back in time can you go if you're looking to look at trends, or if you're trying to remember how well that BookBub did 2 years ago?
You can go as back as far as they provide the data. I've started publishing in, oh boy, I'm gonna date myself here, 2009. And my dashboard pulls all the way back to 2009. So I can see, boy, hey, 2014, my first BookBub, that was a really good year, and I can go back and check all that. We can't break down by the day more than 90 days past. Once you go past the 90-day mark, it becomes a weekly or a monthly. And it's just because that's the way they provide the data.
Because we're pulling directly from the reports, that goes away as soon as all of the exchange rates and stuff are factored in the returns, and it just goes to a monthly total.
That daily stuff we no longer have access to after 90 days. So that's one drawback there. The only way to do that would be to archive your data in our servers, and we're not going to do that. No, we don't archive anything. So
speaking of that, you have I don't know if it's proprietary but you have a very unique way of getting the information and presenting it to the author or publisher that is very, very secure. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, it keeps control of everything in the author's hands instead of our hands. the way I first set it up when I was talking to our lead developer and explaining what it is I wanted and how I wanted it to work was I said, we need to be able to pull all this data. We need to be able to process it and make charts and present it the way they want it. Oh, and by the way, you can't have any passwords or cookies. And he just kind of looked at me and said, okay. And he found a way to do it. So privacy was just one of the big things that everybody had a hard time with. For me, it's always, does it give me the data that I need? And does it secure my data? Is this a, you know, am I giving my passwords, which also has my banking information and my books? You know, if they were to give us that, we would have access to all that. And I did not want that for myself or anyone else. So the way we set it up is it's all run through the extension, the browser extension. So it's like a three-way, I hate to call it, but there's a relationship between scribe count and whatever platform, Amazon, whoever, and the author. And there's this three-way connection, and then author has control of all three of those connections. They can sever them at any time. They can activate them at any time. They can delete all their data from our servers and start all over anytime they want. So basically what happens is when they hit that login button, what they're doing is walking down that hallway with all the doors that lead to Amazon, Barnes and Noble, whatever. And they open that door and they let us look in. We can't go in. We can't touch anything. We can't change anything. All we can do is look. And anytime they want us to stop looking, they can shut that door.
And we
It's
can't
all-
open the door. So if they log in the
Right.
morning and the door is closed, we can just kind of go up to the door and stare at it sadly.
Yeah, there's no
That's
way
it.
for us to pull anything. So
Or in the case of Apple, the door closes automatically every
yeah,
30 minutes.
they do time out.
Whether or
That's-
not you are in the doorway, it will slam on you.
It'll slam right in your face.
That's one of the complaints that we're trying to solve is each of the platforms have a activity monitor. So if you're not doing anything, they will time you out and sever the connection. So it's a double-bladed sword here because it times you out and it shuts the door when you may not have wanted them to shut it for you. But we can't shut it. We can't even tell them that, hey, we're looking in, please don't shut the door, because we can't do anything to trigger that timer. So Apple will time out after a few hours. The other platforms all have their timers set at different times. So people will get on Scribe Count in the morning and say, hey, I have to sign into Google or Apple every morning. You know, why is that? It's them,
And we
not
go,
us.
it works.
Yeah, but that is proof that our privacy stuff does
Exactly.
work. Because if we were in there and we were doing anything that would trigger them to see, oh, there's activity in that account, so leave it open, it would stay open all the time. So that kind of proves that our privacy is indeed private and we cannot get in and do anything in your account. So
We've got a question on YouTube.
sure.
This might be a time to share screen. Jordy, are we set up to share screen?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Nick Harvey asks, and I was going to type the answer in the chat because, you know, I know the answer, but he asks, does the report give gross income or can it calculate net royalty?
Right now, it gives gross.
Gross,
We are working.
gross income, right?
Gross income. We are working our way towards net. If you want to go a little bit farther and do some manual work on your own behalf, we have a manual income and expense feature where you can input your expenses, your ad spend, your cover art expenses, anything related to a book, tag it to that book, and it will propagate in your charts and in your spreadsheets. So yeah, you can keep track of that. It's a little bit extra work, but you do have that ability. We are working on a way to track ad spend. We're going to start with Amazon and Facebook and then move on to BookBub probably. And that will be an automatic pull. So all you'll have to do is attach your Facebook account, much like you do your platforms, and we will pull your ad spend and monitor all that for you. and it'll appear in your charts as well. So you can see your spend versus your profit margins, and it'll be all nice and neat and pretty.
And Nick, if you haven't looked at it yet, it'll break your net income down to pie charts for Amazon, Kobo, Nook, Apple, Drafted Digital, wherever. Well, I think that's just about all of them that you're
Smashwords, Drafted
Smashwords,
Digital, and the big five.
yeah.
So we're up
So
to
it'll
7
display that. You can display all of it together in a pie chart, or you can take Amazon out to see which one of your wide distributors is doing the best. For me, that's Barnes and Noble. Then Apple, right smack on its tail. Apple's coming along really fast. You can just, it's incredible how much. Well, we'll get into that when we do the share screen. I've been using it for a year now, and there's still places that I'm afraid to even click on because it might break something.
It's pretty bulletproof now. When we first started out, we found a few glitches with, somebody clicked on something, and I don't know how that happened. We had to try to reproduce it and figure it out and fix it. But
it's extremely robust. There's a whole lot of information on there.
I'm much calmer now when I check my email every morning. I don't get a lot of.
Nick's second question is the dreaded F word. So
Find a way.
We were talking about that before we started, Nick. Find a way, because of the merger. ScribeCount's going to delay that for a little while, right, Randall?
Yes, been pushed back a little bit due to the acquisition by Spotify, but we are still talking to Will, and we're hoping to get that moving soon. So he's obviously got a full plate, and I trust he'll get back to us when he's able to do so.
And while we're on the subject of the audiobooks, can you tell us where you are with regards to who?
Audible,
the big gorilla.
Yeah, Audible. We have the base code written, but I've been advised by several people actually that due to the legal shenanigans that are happening, it's best for us to hold off and not waste time writing code that we're just going to have to change. So that's where we're at with Audible. The programmers, I like to say, they're leaning forward in their foxholes. They're ready to go on it. We just need to give them a green light and tell them it's safe to build something now. Nobody's going to come along and tear it down as soon as it's done. So that's where we're at on that.
But once you implement Find a Way, it will automatically pull all the Audible information if you're publishing to
it will
Audible
if you go through
Find
Find a Way to Audible. Yes. And we may end up having to change both of them after Audible fallout. So
it would be more Find a Way needing to change what they were pulling from Audible then.
Yeah.
If we're just pulling from Find a Way, then.
Yeah, it's a big gray area right now. So I don't want to commit to anything and then have to backpedal. It's just we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants us to have it. So those are good signs. We'll just wait and see what they say when they're ready.
Do you have anything implemented for any of the smaller distributors? Public.
Yeah, we've been talking to them. Actually, the first one we talked to was Robin at Eden, I think. And she's just sweet as can be. I like Robin. But we reached out to her, and she was all for us adding her little platform there. And we're gonna implement that soon. And who else are we talking to? Radish and Kiss are on the list. And
PayHip is a frequent.
PayHip, people wanted a PayHip portal, so we're looking at that. Publish Drive has been pushed a little bit recently, so we're exploring that. Aggregators are hard though. Aggregators are a whole different beast. It's not like just adding another Amazon. It's actually a little more complicated. Smashwords was quite a challenge. Not only you can tell Smashwords is kind of antiquated in the way their platform works and operates. So that was a big challenge there. They didn't even give daily sales numbers. They just gave units. So you had to take the number of units and then go find the book
and
get the
figure
price.
out what the royalty would be.
Yeah. And
Well,
we
and
ended up
figure
with
out
a-
if there was a coupon involved and
Yeah,
Mhm.
coupons threw us for a loop, and then the multiple platforms and the library prices and everything. So we ended up with these formulas that just kept getting longer and longer just to make a daily, chart. But we have it now, and it had maybe 4 months worth of teething problems, but I think Smashwords is pretty stable now. We haven't got too many tickets lately about Smashwords issue. So we learned a lot. Smashwords did serve to teach us a lot of how to overcome the little quirks that each platform has. So
Well,
Do
why don't we jump
some
in
of
and
the-
share
Go
screen
ahead.
for a minute while we talk? And Felipe, you're going to share your screen,
Sure. Sounds good.
but one of the cool features is that big sunburst, and
Yes, indeed.
and it's always right there. Look at that.
It's right there. And the sunburst is also, you can click into it. And so one of the first places I like to go with anyone new is into Apple, because you can see I distribute part of my Apple sales via D2D and part direct. So you can see that here. And then
Oh,
you can see the breakdown by region, by book. So everything going via D2D is currently listed as other. That'll get broken out later. But if I were to go into direct Apple, you can see Canada, US, United Kingdom. And then up here at the top, back to the whole sunburst.
and
see
that's
Mhm.
that's just such a really cool really cool tool. Say that 3 times fast. You can click on any part of that pie chart and dig deep and see what any distributor is doing, what countries are selling best, what books, and the deeper you go, the more you see. And then
Yep.
you just come right back out again.
Yep. So we've
Yep,
got
this-
that, the list, the daily and monthly charts. And then here, I really like, I like to be able to measure my free payout, my per unit payout, and a map, of course.
I like to go to that bar graph for the month when I 1st sign
Mhm.
on and just sit there and watch it. And the first book,
Yeah.
the highest
Watch it
book goes
populate.
across.
Wait,
it
no, we can do
populates
that for
across
this
the line.
month.
Then the second one. Yeah, just
It's
and
like
scroll
throwing
down.
books.
Oh, your computer's a lot faster than mine.
Yeah, so
Mine takes
Wait.
us a few seconds for the first one to populate.
right, go back. Last month. Okay, there we go.
There you
There
see
we
them
go.
growing. Yep. Growing like weeds.
And
Looks great.
each book's populating all the way across, and then all the others jump on. It's so cool.
Yep.
And you got the 3 options there. If you could click through the top books, and the top book's free.
Oh,
the top, yeah.
yes.
So
And
yeah,
that's your
you can check
top
units,
books.
royalties, or free books.
What happened on the 20?
Somebody advertised for you, it looks like. You got a nice little
Yeah.
bump there. Yeah.
Huzzah.
Can you
Yeah.
go back to the sunburst and find some Smashwords for me? I think you had it in your.
Yeah, in my yearly.
Okay,
There we go.
there you go. See, now she has there's 2 settings you can choose when it comes to
yeah.
the aggregators. If you want to walk through that, that'd be great.
Yeah,
But,
so that's do you want me to just okay. So actually Smashwords is not super relevant to that. Here you can see the D2D and Apple books. Now I can go to my settings. And what I can do is under aggregator reporting, I have it merged with other platforms. So everything that comes through Drafted Digital shows up as where it came from originally. But I show it as individual platform and then go back to, you can see even on this month, it's changed. But when we look for this year, you'll see that bright green is suddenly split up and Drafted Digital has come
Into a
in.
whole bunch. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. See, the problem we had with Smashwords is an aggregator and a store.
And
So how are we going to show that? So in this chart, you're seeing Smashwords as a store, and all the books that are sold to other platforms through Smashwords merged in with their other platforms.
And I'm pretty sure that this year, all of my Smashword sales have actually been direct at the Smashword store.
Oh, wow,
So there's
good.
no, yeah.
But the thing I loved about this, and we looked for a long time for a chart that would do this, is right now you're looking at her entire library in one chart. But within 4 clicks or less, she can drill down to a single platform, a single book in a single format. So if she wants to just see that book in that format, there you go, all the way down in just a couple clicks. And it populates over there on the right. So
Just the visual aspect of it. That's what first attracted me, and that's what first attracted me to Book Report. The Amazon reporting on the dashboard, it's just a whole bunch of numbers, and we can't see. I mean, we can see the numbers and we can read the numbers, but we can't visualize it.
No.
And this gives you such a visual image of how things are going and how a certain promotion might perform, that it's just so valuable, such a valuable tool.
See it at a glance. I wanted it to cut down on the time it took to get the reports in your head so you can make decisions. And that's basically why we have so many graphic representations. But
it's also very useful emotionally if you're switching over to wide. So if you're just going to Amazon, you're watching your page reads, drop, obviously, because it's just whoever still has it in their library. But at the same time, if you log into Scribe Count, you can see the whole pie chart. Oh, right. Not the end of the world. Stable income.
Do you currently have this set to ebooks only?
No, I really just don't have any paperbacks.
Okay.
Okay. So,
but will they show up alongside like ebooks, paperback?
They would. So you'd see, like, for instance, here, Shadow's Oath, you'd see that split into ebooks and paperbacks.
Cool. If you look up in the upper right-hand corner there, you'll see format percentage. Those are all the formats that we track there: ebook, paperback, hardcover, and page reads. And we'll be expanding on that. A lot of people have asked for large print and audio, and of course, and
like you really can't see much in terms. This is just, none of my books have been in KU since I think February. So it's just whatever's still coming in from people that have them in there. But we do have the Kdp Ku dashboard as well.
Yeah, that's something we didn't touch on yet.
Yeah, the KU side of it. Nick, you're still in KU, right?
Me? Yes.
Yeah. So
okay.
Where's that?
We have
up
a
there at the
dashboard
very top left.
Too.
You see where it says dashboard? It says wide and KU. There's an app for that.
Yeah, go ahead and click on the KU page. Let's run through that for a second. We actually once we built the wide platform, started hearing from a lot of KU authors saying, when are you going to build a KU page? So we kind of switched gears and started building a KU page. So this is our KU page. It may look a little similar to others you may have seen, but we have every feature Book Report has and more.
A whole lot more.
Yeah. So we do, if you could go to your bookshelf for me. You'll see up at the top a lot of selections there. Obviously this is listing your books, how much you've made net and what over the years. But if you see that top row of selections up there, you'll see books. Next to that, you'll see KDP Select. Now what that does is monitor the she doesn't have any in KU, so okay, here we go.
Used to.
But what that does is, a lot of people were complaining that, hey, I pulled my book out of KU, only the day that I went to push it wide, I've discovered that no, I wasn't out of KU. The box had been clicked. I had been re-enrolled against my will or something of that nature, or they just forgot to click it or something.
I've heard it happen many, many times.
Oh,
I don't think
no,
it's
it
just
definitely
people forgetting to
happens.
click it.
After I heard it a few, I started asking around, and oh boy, yeah, it happens quite a bit.
Yeah.
So we made this monitor. So what this does, well, if she had books in KU, you would see them all listed, and it
Mhm.
would tell you the status of that KU subscription, how many days you've been in and how many days you had left, and whether that box has been clicked or not. So
Yeah.
you can see them all without having to visit the actual book page on your Amazon account.
Which, because it's not like you can easily see that even from the Amazon bookshelf. You have to navigate into.
Mhm.
Exactly. And then we
A
have some of
specific
our
book.
authors that have, 200, 500 books. How do they track that? So what happens with our system now is if your KU status changes for any reason, you get an alert. So now that book will be flagged. It'll pop up in nice red font and say, hey, the status of this KU book has changed. It's been disenrolled or it's been re-enrolled or whatever. It will let you know. And we're coming out with an email feature here pretty soon that will give you a daily summary and email in your inbox every day. And we're going to incorporate that into the email. So if your KU status changes for any reason, you'll get an email that says, hey, better check this. Did you do this or did somebody else? That's one thing that the KU authors are really, really liking. The other thing next to it is the price tracker.
Mine
A lot
is
of
not
people, yours isn't working?
No, I'm one of the people that has. So here's one of the things that we run into is every platform has something like this. So the level of complexity really does shoot through the roof the more platforms you have. It turns out that in Author Central, a whole bunch of people have, for some reason, 2 accounts, not 2 logins, just 2 accounts under the same login heading. So a whole bunch of people have their data stored somewhere else.
Yeah. And we
Why?
need it in order to populate this.
So about half of us do not have our Author Central data coming through yet. That's why we have the very handy beta tag.
Yep. And we're still working on
Useful.
that. Actually, the guys are working on it right now. They're shooting me emails.
But this is it's the sort of thing that comes up where you say, okay, well, we'll want to do, far in the future, we'll want to do Amazon ad tracking. And the team comes back to us and they say, there are 20 subdomains. We say, what?
Yep. So your project went from 2 months to 6 months, in one
No,
sentence.
two times 20 is 40.
Yeah. And now multiply it by the number of books, and you get in all
Yeah.
kinds of problems.
Yeah.
But yeah, but basically that's the select monitor. Next to that, we have the price tracker. That's the same thing pretty much. If your price changes for any reason, we got a lot of reports of people saying, hey, Amazon just lowered the price of my paperback down to nothing. And now my advertising's all screwed up, and I didn't even know it. They didn't know it until 2 weeks went by,
So
or somebody
theoretically, you
told
can.
them.
Until you finally get around to
Yep.
looking at it.
So this
Mhm.
tells you your previous.
This
price,
will give
your
you
current
this will
price.
send you an email alert plus an
This
alert
will
right
as
here
well.
on the-
Yep.
Mhm. Yes.
You'll get an alert
Yeah.
if something changes, and you can put like she pointed to up here in the show change prices only. You can
Yeah.
filter that way if you wish, and it'll just tell you when anything's. But if you want to check all your prices, you can do it all on one page right here.
Yep.
Okay. And then next to
And-
that, we have reviews. I'm sure you got reviews, right? Yeah.
Mm.
Right now, we're pulling them all from the individual book pages, and we switched over to pulling them through Author Central. So there's been a
Is
bit
it-
of a change there.
So it's pulling the most recent reviews, regardless of which book.
You can pull them by most recent, positive first, or negative first right now.
Okay.
Oh man, am I
And-
gonna do it? I feel like I should. No,
Nah.
don't stab yourself in the heart. Why would you do
No.
that?
we're actually going to add to that as well, Wayne, because a lot of people, who was it? Dave Chesson, I think, did a great presentation on heat mapping of the Amazon pages,
Yeah.
and pointed out that people most commonly go to the 3-star reviews. And then I
Exactly.
had a couple other authors say, is there any way you could help us with a keyword tool of some kind? I don't know what genre my book should be in. It crosses genres. I'm not sure where to put it. I don't know what keywords to use in regards to that genre, so on and so forth. And it's kind of like my book I just wrote 6 months ago. So maybe I should use those. So what we came up with, and this is in development, this isn't here yet, is you'll be able to filter by star rating. So if you just want to see your 3-star reviews, that's great. You can pull them all up. And then we're going to have another button that says word cloud. And when you click that word cloud button, it will scrape all the text from your reviews and make you a word cloud.
Ooh.
So you can see what the author or what the readers are saying about your book.
Kind of like
And
Kindle
use-
Spy used to do.
Very, very
Yeah.
similar. Yes. So we'll
Oh,
do that.
cool.
And that way authors will actually be using their own reviews to pull the keywords that they need. So that's in the pipe.
That's a really good idea. I just released the 22nd book in the Jesse McDermott series today. And
What happens?
the keywords are the same as book 1.
Yeah.
And my keywords are the same for all 22 books. And I guess they really should be different.
Well, if it's not broken, maybe you don't want to fix it, but this will give you the opportunity to
should.
experiment, and you can always switch them back. So yeah, just testing it, a lot of people, I was surprised what words come up, and you just like, well, I never thought of using that. So it's a bit eye-opening when you see it work, but
Very
that's
cool.
probably a ways down the road. But let me move on here to ranks. For the ranks, pulls all the ranks from all the platforms. It'll list them best to worst, however, quantities. We'll be doing rank by sales. You can see that up here in the upper left.
Wait, rank
There
versus.
you go.
Oh, rank
right.
versus sales.
Yep, rank by sales. This will show your rank versus your sales, and you can see how your ads are doing and how they've affected your ranks and sales over time. Next to that, rank by book. Are you gonna give them a little show here? There you go. Okay. Rank
Mine
by
doesn't
book.
have.
Oh, you don't have that populated yet, do you?
Well, we'll
Okay.
see. Yeah, I don't think I do.
And then rank by series. If you go back to
Oh,
your bookshelf itself, and remember how we talked about merging books, Wayne?
Yeah.
You can not only merge your books together, you can then group your series and label them by series. So if you want to see how your entire Jesse series is doing, you can look at it all at once, and it will average out your sales and show you that. So this will
and
help
I
with,
also
I haven't
tag
even
by
played
subgenre.
with this part of it yet. This is
Okay.
all, I'm like a kid in a candy shop right here.
yeah, this is we got more filters than we originally planned on, that's for sure. But people just kept making good suggestions, and we kept a list, and we added them in.
Yeah.
So-
Also worth saying here on the dashboard, you can build custom reports. You can
Yeah.
build whatever you want in the columns and the rows.
Yeah,
And
it's,
yeah,
if you've been using that Excel spreadsheet and you don't want to change, we just gave you an easier version of it here. You can build your own spreadsheet and pivot table and do whatever you want. It's a bit rigid right now. We're trying to make it more flexible so you can put more info in the way you want it. And
I'm
yeah,
a
there you
bit
go.
more of a dinosaur. I haven't evolved past Microsoft Works spreadsheets.
This is one of those things that your BA will like, or your accountant. That's what I want to do anyway. I just want to hand it over to the BA and say, here you go, I made this tool for you. So there you go. There's a good example right there. So there's
One, I do have a question. This is just a personal question.
sure.
Well, I was looking on Scribe Count the other day, and I looked at 2018, actually November 2017 to October 2018, the fiscal year
Okay.
for Amazon, and the cumulative gross revenue was considerably higher than what I had recorded on my spreadsheet, to the tune of 6 digits higher.
Really? Okay.
now that's not.
So where is it pulling the year to the past? Where is it pulling that from specifically for Amazon?
And it was Amazon only you had it set at.
So
You
that
didn't
would
have
be
it-
more, that would be more accurate than what I had.
Without digging into your individual account, I don't know if I could answer that question right here anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to look at your.
Yeah. If there's a discrepancy 6 digits, we'd have to really take a look at it.
Oh, well into 6 digits. On my spreadsheet, I had slightly over 500, and
Okay.
on Scribe Count, it says 730.
Hmm.
So it's $250,000 more than I actually made. Or maybe I made
Congratulations.
more and I don't know it.
You're welcome, Wayne. You're welcome. But yeah, we can get together. And
Well, when are
figure
you
that
going to
one
give me the money?
out.
Well, you see, Wayne, there's a finder's fee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else do we want to show? Is there anything else we can? What else we
Well,
got here?
obviously the other income and expense.
Okay.
So you can put in your income and expenses here.
This goes
There.
back to the question that was answered or asked earlier about configuring net. Here's where you can input your expenses for all your books. You can, you can put in that plane ticket to NINC. You can put in the books you sold out of the trunk of your car. You can put in anything you want and attach it to a book or a series, and it will populate in your charts and it will adjust the balances accordingly. And we're hoping to get to a point where we can provide a pretty good net number. Of course, everyone's will be different. We'll always be lacking that one tiny platform that somebody uses that we don't. And of course, we can't add, the ones you sold at the Christmas party or the ones you sold out of the
We
trunk of your
cannot and
car.
will not add a tracker in the trunk of your car.
Yeah, sorry, won't do it. But yeah, we'll constantly be adding more, but we'll never cover everything. And this is the way for us to give you the way to cover everything. So, and we do have a bulk import. It's a spreadsheet. It's also a little rigid. If you could click on that for me, please, Flip the bulk import sheet. There you go. Yep, there's a template that we've put on here.
Oh, you
And
can't
that,
see
that
it.
will import the bulk data from, say, Amazon,
Yeah.
and create
Yeah,
basically the same spreadsheet that they do.
it gives you a way to upload bulk information in bulk in one place. So if you took a trip to NINC, let's say you sold 10 books out of the trunk of your car in the parking lot, you sold 15 inside and 182 in the bar, and then you bought drinks for everybody, and you can put all that into a bulk sheet and upload it.
Well, you can't
And
sell any books at NINC, but you can always buy me a drink at the bar.
That's a deal, buddy. I can do that. So this is a little rigid as well. We're trying to make it more flexible with more options, but it needs a little tweaking.
And when did you actually launch? That was just this past
Oh
October,
boy,
right?
It was January.
January 21st, I think, was our launch date. And
15th.
15th, was it?
It was directly
Okay.
between two big events that happened in January.
Well, what happened just this last fall? It was right before or after NINC? It was before, right?
In fall, we
Oh,
launched.
yeah.
Oh, when you launched the KU.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
literally doubled the size of our service.
Yeah.
Yep.
We immediately just boom, that much bigger, and KU authors were jumping in. So that was a big thing. And we offered a yearly subscription option at that point. And we also updated a whole bunch of stuff.
And in case anybody's wondering, the yearly subscription is the same as Book Report, or a little bit less, isn't
it's
it?
actually less. Yeah, it's about
Well,
$8 less for a yearly.
You get more for less.
Yeah, our rates right now are, if you make, we're tiered just like a Book Report, and if you make 0 to 1,000, we're free. If you make over 1,000 to 2,000, we're $15 a month, and if you make over 2,000, it's $20 a month.
And
But of
if
course-
you slide back, you're not watermarked up. It'll put you back down a
No.
tier.
Yeah, that's one thing. If you had a good month that bumped you up into a higher tier, we don't freeze you there. So if you want to run that book bub and make some good bank in August and then drop back down in November, we're not going to penalize you for it. We're not going to keep you up at the high
that's
rate
cool.
there. So yeah, people move above and below that $1,000 rate all the time. Most of them celebrate. They're like, hey, I have to pay for Scribe Count now. And we're like, oh, we're happy for you too. But yeah, I didn't think that was fair. Just because you have one good month, you shouldn't have to pay for it,
Well, as an indie author, you should be striving to pay more.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
'Cause
the
if
more
you're paying,
tools we
if you're
give
if
them,
you're paying more, that means you're making more.
exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, just make it affordable for everybody and they'll all rise.
Well,
they'll
I
all
would switch
make more.
over to I'd switch over to YouTube to see if there's any more questions, but as long as you're sharing screen, I can't change.
Oh dear.
So
Let me
why
stop.
don't you stop sharing and we'll go back to
There we are.
there we go. Now I can see. And,
Sorry, everyone.
I'll just jump in while he's looking for that. And
Okay.
I was researching a little bit on you there, and it does seem that you're extremely responsive to the community. There was Facebook Wide for the Win. I think one of the
Yeah.
there was almost a novel length conversation, something like 600 comments.
Yeah. That
Oh,
was when we
when-
first
when-
launched. That
when
was great.
Erin posted her results.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That created
Yeah,
quite
had
a
to
bit
win
of
Erin over.
conversation.
Erin's been great to us. I can't thank her enough for what she's done. But in the beginning though, we had to win her over. She said, I get offers like this all the time from people that say they're building something, they want me to test it out and everything. And I said, okay, give it a try, be honest. And she did, and wrote us a nice little write-up describing what she liked and what she didn't like. And that turned into a conversation. And yeah, like you said, 700 comments later, we
Yeah.
finally
Well,
said, okay.
unknown to us, when we reached out to her, there were, I believe, 4 other people that she knew
Yeah,
who
that we're
had
working on
said that
something similar.
on the
Yeah.
same thing, and she knew all of them personally. She didn't know us personally. And then several months later, we were the only ones who had
We're
something.
the only one, yeah. So we were quite a bit ahead of everybody, it turned out. So yeah, that worked out great. It worked out great. Erin's been a great friend. So is Mark Leslie, Joanna Penn. They've all given us great marks, and we can't thank them enough for that.
And amazing feedback too, which has
Well,
been worth
you
its
can
weight.
add
Yeah.
Wayne Stinnett, because this is this has made my life considerably easier. Every morning I start my day the same way. I sit down at the computer. It's still dark outside. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm drinking coffee, and first thing I do is open Scribe Count and watch that little thing populate across the board. And I only do that for my own entertainment more than anything. And then I switch over. I close Scribe Count. And I start writing, and I write for 2 or 3 hours in the morning. Then I open Scribe Count back up and record yesterday's sales. And before, when I was doing each individual platform separately, it was just such a pain. I mean, you got 5 different platforms. I have to add this number, this number, this number, this number, all the way across to get the total for this one book.
Yeah.
And Scribe Count, I just, boom, there's the book. There's how many it's sold through all of them. And it's just, it's cut my workload a lot. And anybody that's got a lot of books, there's some, we were talking earlier off camera about some of your subscribers who have several hundred books written.
Exactly.
And that created kind of a backlog sometimes. So for somebody like that, I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to record sales from 5 different platforms at that level, that many different books.
It's a challenge. We did not even plan on people with libraries that huge. So we're running into unique problems with them. Like, Wayne, if you hover over your stack in that chart, it gives you a pop-up, right?
Yeah.
Well, imagine 500 books in that pop-up. So we got a ticket just like a week ago where someone said, I can't see all my books in the pop-up. And I was like, well, that's an odd, how does that happen? And then I found out she's got like 240 titles. And well, some things we can't solve, unless you turn your screen vertically. And then even then, I don't know if it's going to fit. So we're looking for ways to solve the unique problems that people with large libraries have. But yeah, we do get a lot of comments like that. And people are saying, what used to take me 3 hours is now just a few minutes. And the favorite comments I get are, you saved me 3 hours, but you added another half hour of me just playing with stuff.
Yeah.
They get in there and they play with that chart. They want to do this, they want to do that.
I like to do visual comparisons. I like to look back at last July when I had a book bub and compare that to a book bub in December, Or I want to look at the release of my 15th book 2 years ago and compare that to my latest release and see. And you can do that. And it's
You can
just
do
with a few
that, and
clicks.
you'll actually be able to do it easier pretty soon because
Coming
we're
up.
making a
Mhm.
compare charts feature.
That's going to be awesome.
So you'll be
Yeah.
able to say, okay, I had a book club in August of 2016. You pull that up in your date range and hit the compare button, and then you pull up the book club that you did just a month ago, and you click that button, and it'll give you either a top bottom or it'll plan them on top of each other, superimposed.
That's
So you
smart.
can
I was
compare.
about to ask about that because one of the things looking at what I've been looking at here, uh, I'd love to have a year with KU and a year wide and really drill down to see,
Oh, yeah.
Was it a good idea?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah,
can
you'll be able
I
to
can
do
tell
that
you,
soon.
for me, it was a great idea. My 2021 beat my best year, 2018.
Good.
And I started going wide in 2020, did it really slow, not like most people yank them all out of KU and publish them wide all at one time. It took me a year, one at a time, book one, book two, book three. And I actually saw my Amazon sales increase as my book started coming out.
Mm.
Because, people who borrow can also buy,
Yep.
but people who aren't subscribers, they can't borrow.
Well,
But-
you also, not only did you do it unusually, you did it slow, which I thought was quite a
Very slow.
gamble. I was pretty impressed when you did that. I said, wow, that's a gamble he's taken there, but it paid off. So
Well,
and your pricing
I'm thinking
was
about the
smart.
reader. I mean, here's Joe Reader out there. He just downloaded on KU my 7th book, and he's been a fan. He's binge read the first 6, and now he's on book 7. Finishes that, and he goes to find book 8, and all of them are gone. So instead, I pulled book 1, and so guess what? There's no new readers coming into the series in KU, because who starts with book 2?
Right.
Somebody might buy book 1
Some
and
very
then read book 2
confused
in
readers.
KU. And so my sales for book 1 went up. And then when I pulled book 2 sales went up. And right on down the line, took a year. And I still release a new release goes into KU for 90 days. And that's something I've not heard of anybody doing a whole lot of. But
There's a
that's
few asking
just to
about it.
keep those KU readers. I mean, a lot of these people are on fixed incomes, and they're like me, they're old and they can't afford it. So KU is good for them. And so I'm keeping them happy.
It's a great system you worked out. I'm glad it worked out for you.
We got a question
I
on,
noticed on you is if I could touch on just pricing for a second. You
Yeah.
also price your book versus your page reads very well. I can't remember what the ratio was, but that's something we're adding for the KU authors is a full read to page read calculator. And that'll also kick out your price to sale ratio. So what we'll do is we'll pull your page reads and divide them by the number of pages in that book to give you your full read to page read ratio. But then we'll also tell you at this price point, you need to sell or you need to have, 4 full page reads in order to equal 1 sale. And I'm looking for a way to graph that isn't super complicated. But
it's going
once
to
I
be
come up
because
with
of
it,
all the different price points. You got everything
will
from
be,
99 cents to $9.99.
it may be
And-
only one book at a time just to keep it,
Oh,
readable.
yeah.
But
For a book
that's
at
something
for a
that we're
book
working
at
on.
$2.99, the break point for where a borrow equals a read is about a 92,000 word book, and that will give you the KU pages, page numbers that would, if somebody read the entire book and you were paid 0.0044 per book, then that would equal the same as the $2 you get for royalty for a share for a
Exactly.
sale.
Yep. And we'll
So
do all
we
that
got a
math for
question
you.
on YouTube.
Okay.
I think Nick Harvey's the only person watching on YouTube. And this is kind of an interesting question. He's asking about, does the software do evaluation of sales? Can it calculate read through and sell through?
Handle that one. Go ahead, Philippa.
Yeah. So we're working on read through right now. There's 3 ways to look at read through. The first will automatically cast out, but I'm going to put it out anyway, which is read through calculated by the number of pages Amazon says on your front facing page are in the book, which it turns out is complete bunk. Then there is a number that is cached in the back end of the system that is the actual number that they use. That is the pages that you can read. And then we would like to also have an amount that you can put in. So if you have a large amount of back matter, 10% of your book is a preview of the next book, we want you to be able to set it and say, actually, I'm just going to estimate that 85% of this or 90% of this is the number of page reads for a full read through.
Mhm.
So there's that. Series sell through, there are a few different metrics to work on, and that's something that we're going to be covering first with some people that signed up at 20 Books in Vegas for a statistics rundown, and then we'll be debuting those on the blog to look at different ways to calculate it and ways that you can do that with the custom reporting.
Yeah, that's such a hard metric to figure out because it's not just, it's not a snapshot by any means. And it's not a movie either, because a movie would be a movie of just that one title. This is a movie that spans all the titles and each one is independent. So if you look at just this month's sales, well, nobody who started the series and read books 1 and 2 has read book 20 and 21. That's just not possible in a month unless they read out of order. But
Well,
if you look at a year or
Yeah.
something like that, but then if you look at a year, your newer books haven't been around very long.
Right.
So they don't have as many sales. So
Hmm.
it's kind of an odd thing to look at.
It is.
I'm interested in seeing how that turns
Pages
out.
of formulas and a lot of variables, but and then you have the ones that the authors will be putting in themselves too. So it's
And a big part of this is trying to make authors realize that they are, in fact, enormously competent when it comes to data. Most people have a very intuitive grasp of these issues, but our society has built up this huge scare reaction to anything that reads as data jargon. And so trying to convince people, you can do this. You actually can. You are enormously good at making use of your data.
Especially if you've been doing it
yeah.
for a while. You
Exactly.
even though you don't consciously study it and understand it, you subconsciously understand the trends. You see how things are moving and how they should be going. And if you've been around for any number of years, you develop a sort of a sixth sense for how things work.
You do. If you run that ad on that platform, you're going to get this much of a bump on average.
Yeah.
And once we have the ad tracking, we'll be able to incorporate that into the formula as well. So it should get tighter and tighter with every additional feature that we add. So we're looking forward to that.
Nick Harvey says, let him know if you have need for another guinea pig.
we prefer test dummy, Nick, but that's okay. We'll
Test
get
dummies.
But yeah, we'll by all means, shoot me an email if you want to be a part of the system. We'll definitely take on more guinea pigs.
So have you got anything else, Nick?
Yeah, I'm just curious, when somebody signs in, when you were talking about being able to add costs and things, it made me wonder if there would be ways to add into your account notes that stay on a certain day. For instance, this is a release date, put your release date. This was a Kindle Daily Deal, put that. This was a Kindle Monthly Deal start, and this was the end. Like, can you put in notes like that will
that
remain?
Is on the production list, and we are working on both a calendar feature, and once we have that done, it will interact with all the other stuff.
Ooh.
So if you
the sheer number of pages it filters through is
it's a huge project. But to give you an example, you run a BookBub ad on or a BookBub feature deal, let's say, on the 15th of November, and it's for free and it's for this book. We'll have a little a little form you just fill out on your calendar. You click that, it populates, and a little line will appear on your chart. Book club deal today. And you'll be able to travel from the calendar to the chart and back again as you need to track everything. So
Now, this is so obviously an app that was developed by an author. I mean, because all the questions that we could come up with, you're already thinking of.
yeah,
Because you've been around the block a time or two.
well, I've been doing it since 2009, and I tend to move immediately to problem solving, which is something I actually said to Philippa today. The reason Philippa is here is to keep me from moving from first gear to sixth gear. What she does is she throttles my
Yeah, if you do
my
that too
tendency
fast,
to
you
do
get
that.
bogged down real
I
quick.
You do,
carefully,
you do.
gently hit him with a brick.
Yep,
every,
slow
you know.
down. We got to do this first. We got to do that first. But yeah, I tend to just see a problem and want to solve it right now. So now, you know, it used to be I wake up with ideas for books, or I have to pull the car over on the highway and write down this idea I just had or whatever. Now it's 50-50 ideas for scribe count, ideas for books that I still want to write. And unfortunately, the list over there is suffering because scribe count's getting all my attention, but that's okay. I'm having fun with both, and we're just going to keep on going until it's done. But the other thing is everybody writing in with feature requests. You know, hey, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? And you're like, wow,
A
that's
lot
a
of
great
them are
idea.
gold. Yeah.
They are. You know, I wish I could lay claim to all of them, but the word cloud idea was actually an idea that came up at NINC. So we just expanded on that. I was telling him about the filters, and he just said, well, that'd be great for finding keywords. And it was right after Dave's presentation on the heat map. So it all just kind of came down at the same time. And
that was a really good presentation too.
Yeah, I did. I got more ideas just sitting in the lobby and talking to other authors at NINC, and then, you know, out at the Tiki Hut and everything. Just, you know, hey, I noticed you had this feature. Have you thought of doing this with it? And they come up with ideas, and I just take those ideas and run with them. And Philippa slows me down, and
it's the development idea of having too many stories to write.
It is in a way. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we want to do. And if I only could hire another 100 developers, you know, I'd probably have plenty to keep them all busy. So,
well, all that would take is 100 developers.
yeah.
It would take another 8,000 paid subscribers.
Give or take. Yeah. They're out
You
there.
know, if anyone wants to drop a couple million our way,
Yeah.
we can get you all the features you want.
One thing
Spotify's got a lot of extra money lying around.
One thing your lead developer said that I thought was really, really cool when you gave him an idea, he said, yeah, we can do that. It'll just take time.
It'll just take some time. That's his go-to answer. Can we do this? We'll take some time. I don't know how much time until he thinks about it and gets back to me. But, you know, he's never said no. I give him.
He's also never stabbed us, which we're very grateful about.
No.
Awesome.
No, he's pretty
Not
good
even
about
once.
that. But you know, if he needs to think about it, I get it'll take some time, and then he comes back with some ideas. So it's good. It's good. And so far we haven't run into anything that we couldn't overcome. So we're just gonna keep going.
We're in overtime now, and I smell dinner. So
Okay.
we are going to move to close. I want to thank both of you for being on here. It's been really informative, and I've learned a whole lot. And even though I've been a subscriber for a year, and I really appreciate y'all coming on and sharing with our viewers everything there is to know about. Well, no, not everything. I mean, we only touched
we just
on
scratched the surface, Wayne.
Yeah.
There's a ton more.
Yeah,
but
there is a lot more to this app than we just showed you. So if you're tired of going to all those different platforms and getting those numbers and seeing how you're doing, scribe count's your answer. Again, thanks you guys for being on here. Nick, as always, thanks.
Anytime.
And
thanks for having us.
thanks to our sponsors, Down Island Press, Aurora Publicity, Down Island Publishing, which launches this week. And so Anyway,
Alright.
thank you very much. And we will talk to you later. Don't go away. We're just going to close the show, but then we'll have the after party. All right. Good night, everybody.